Here's sort of a neat new sprinkler for your lawn. But even so, you still got to go out here and disconnect the hose and move it around, connect the hose back up. It's a pain. We're going to show you how you can make a system yourself, costing very little money, that does a whole lot more than this. Okay, Gene, turn it on. All of the water for our system is going to come from one hydrant, but it has to go over to what I like to call water central, and we'll have to put that together. Now, there were a couple of things that we needed to get. These were the timers. The rest of the stuff, though, is pretty much nickel and dime stuff. We have elbows that are made out of plastic, and we have the brass fittings that go in there. We've got T's out of the PVC plastic. The first thing I need to do is to figure out how much PVC pipe goes in between these different pieces. This is a little tube cutter that's made for plastic pipe. Well, next we need to put everything together. It's a good idea to take the brass fittings off before you start the gluing process. And it's also a good idea to dry fit all the pieces to make sure that everything is right and snug. And when you get that done, your next step is then going to be to apply this cleaner on there. And handy little brush inside there, so that's no problem. This stuff dries rather fast. It's a good idea to put it on both surfaces that are going to be glued together. Next we apply the adhesive, and we once again put it on both surfaces. When you push this in, it's a good idea to twist it just a little bit. Right now, it's just about set up, and it's got a very, very watertight seal, and it will not let go. If you ever have a problem, you got to saw that thing out of there. Continue the gluing process until you've attached all of your connections. When you start dealing with any kind of threaded piece in plumbing, it's a good idea to take Teflon tape and put it around the threads. Teflon tape is easy to use. You just tear off a piece, wrap it around the threads, it just goes right into the threaded piece here, and you're going to have a watertight joint. We'll tighten that on down with a wrench. Now we're going to put one of the timers on. This is a battery-operated timer, and it just screws on like you would put a garden hose on. It's got a washer in there, so we don't need to use any Teflon thread or tape on the threads, but you can see how it's going to shape up, right? We'll put the other timer on. It's beginning to look like something, isn't it? Now we're going to add a couple of hose connectors, and the important thing about these are that they have little valves that can be cut off and on. That way we can turn the hose on over at the hydrant, and we'll be all set. Well, here's our brain center. All we need to do now is mount it on the wall. I've already put a block of wood up here to mount this on. This should just snap into place. And these little hooks. Once you've mounted your control panel, you can then attach your hoses. Be sure you set aside one connection for the hydrant to bring the water in. Now, I turned on the hydrant over there, and this hose is bringing water up to all of our units. Wanted to check it to be sure it doesn't leak, and now we're in business. It's servicing all of this stuff over here. All we have to do to activate it is open up our little timer here, and it's starting to work. Now, what we activated over at the timer were these two misters and this little soaker hose here. It takes care of this little garden area. Since it is a 2-cycle timer, that means that it's going to shut off at the prescribed time, and then it's going to come back on later in the afternoon as we programmed it. As you can see, this is a very versatile system. This cost us under $100. I think it's a really unique idea, and if you had a pro come out here and install a system, it'd probably cost you over $5 grand.